Hello, my name is Cheryl Meyer, otherwise known as Cheryl M. Health Muse, and I am a health coach. I want to welcome you to my podcast, It Feels Good to Feel Good, Future-Proof Your Health. This is a weekly show that will share lifestyle changes that you can make to support your health yourself. Why do I want to share this information with you? 7 years ago, after being a business owner for 20 years, I woke up one morning in horrific pain where every bone and every joint in my body hurt. I went to the doctor. She ran lots of tests, and then she ran some more, and then she ran some more, and finally she called me and announced she was going to give me steroids, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with me and I should seek therapy. I knew something was wrong. I hurt. So she told me I would be on steroids for the rest of my life, and I refused that I was going to have a life of pain and pills. So why was I going to take steroids if there was nothing wrong with me? So I dug in and started researching, and I turned my business over to my staff. I found a functional doctor who confirmed that I had autoimmune disease. By making a series of significant lifestyle changes that I could do for myself, 5 years later, I had returned to relative health. The best part is that I am now 70, and I feel better now than I did when I was 50. I no longer hurt, which is huge. I will always have autoimmune disease, but losing the pain has been amazing. I went back to school at 67 and became a health coach because I want to share everything that I learned with others. And I wrote a book called It Feels Good to Feel Good, Learn to Eliminate Toxins, Reduce Inflammation, and Feel Great Again, as the manual I wished that I had had when I got sick, and my book has won 13 awards. So whether you want to future-proof your health and grow old with dignity and grace without dementia and chronic pain and disease, which you don't need to get, or whether or not you already have a chronic condition like autoimmune disease or cancer or heart disease, and you want to learn about what things you can do to improve your long-term health, or whether you want to improve the health of your families and raise healthy children, because 53% of our children have a chronic condition, I look forward to sharing all this information with you. I will tell you, it truly does feel good to feel good, so let's get started. I look forward to having you join me here every week, and I want to give you hope that if you have chronic pain or chronic disease, you can make changes that will improve your health. And if you don't want to go there, you're going to be fine if you listen to the show and put these things into work. I want to give you information so that you can grow old and have a better tomorrow. So thank you for joining me. Let's get started. Hello, my name is Cheryl Meyer, and I'm known as Cheryl M. Health Muse. I'm your local neighborhood health coach, and I am starting a series of shows on KGM. I'm very grateful that they have offered me this opportunity because I am very passionate to talk to you about health. And the reason is because 7 years ago, I got sick as the dickens and I couldn't even get out of bed to function. So I didn't know what was wrong. Everything in my body hurt, every muscle, every joint, and I was very miserable. I had my own business, so I called my staff and they started taking care of everything that had to happen. And I made an appointment to go see the doctor, and I went and had tests done, and then I went again, and then I went again. And finally she came back to me and said, Cheryl, I'm going to give you steroids. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. I said, that's ridiculous. I hurt. And she said, well, there's nothing wrong with you, so what I really want you to do is seek therapy. So I'm not going to take pain pills, and I'm not going to take steroids and live a life of pain and pills. So my staff continued to run my jewelry business, which is here in Monrovia, and I dug in. I started researching. I had had 2 parents that had unusual diseases, so I knew that if I really dug deep, I could find things out. And so I didn't even know what I was looking for, but I started to research. And I was lucky because I tripped across what's called the functional medical community. And they were running a series of symposiums at the time. And in the end, I watched 19 different symposiums on different parts of the body. And they all had multiple doctors doing presentations in them. And they kept talking about something called leaky gut. So I went, do you think I have leaky gut? Maybe I have leaky gut. If I have leaky gut, what could I do for myself? Well, the two things I could do for leaky gut were to lower my stress. I knew I had a lot of stress. I always thought it was good for me to be chased by a tiger 24/7. Ends up it wasn't such a good thing. So I could lower my stress, and then I could eliminate toxins in my life. And I didn't need anyone to help me do those things. I could research that and do it myself. So the net result of all of that was 5 years later, I was pain-free. I eliminated hundreds of toxins. I was appalled because I found toxins in every aspect of my life. And I finally found my own functional doctor, and I'll explain what that is in a second. And I drive to Studio City to see her. But between what I did to eliminate the toxins and lower my stress and make sure I got 7 hours of sleep every night, and then to go to my functional doctor who had a completely different approach to my body, it was really delightful 5 years down the road to have no pain. So let me explain to you what a functional doctor is, because that's a great place to start. A conventional doctor tends to look at one ailment, and then they try to find out what's gone wrong that one ailment exists. And often their approach is to match the pill to the pain. A functional doctor is called a root cause doctor. They look at the whole body, and they know that all the different parts of the body interact with each other, so they try to figure out what the root cause of it is. And it ended up, I actually did have autoimmune disease. There's 140 of them that have names. Mine, of course, was not one of the named ones. I joke that I'm a Chinese menu because I have a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B and a little bit from column C, and my autoimmune disease is called undefined. But to a functional doctor, it doesn't matter that they don't know what the name is, because it's one big category. And it all starts, in the functional medicine's opinion, with, yes, leaky gut. I indeed had leaky gut. And that became important because I had started to eliminate many of the things that were causing leaky gut in my body. So what causes leaky gut? Let's go there quick. Leaky gut is caused by stress. It's caused by sensitivities. I ended up, when I got tested, that I had 18 foods that I call my kryptonite. And by eliminating those 18 foods, I eliminated a huge amount of my pain. So that was big. It can also be caused by sugar. Sugar is, we're going to do a whole show on sugar so that you know just how insidious this stuff is, because it impacts every organ in your body, and it is as addictive as heroin and cocaine. So sugar does it. Parasites can do it. The wrong balance of good and bad bacteria in your gut can do it. So all of those things cause leaky gut. So what's leaky gut? Leaky gut is where your digestive system doesn't properly digest your food. So it goes down into the wrong size particle. It doesn't get as minute as it needs to be to go through the wall of your gut into your blood. And the reason that's important is because since they're in big chunks, they start pushing up against the wall of your gut. And your gut has a membrane. The wall is only 1 cell thick. So these particles that are too big are pushing against the wall of your gut, and they eventually rip a little hole in it. Leaky. And once the hole is leaked, in the beginning, your gut replaces itself every 7 days, but eventually it can't keep up. And when it can't keep up, more and more stuff is going into your blood system that's not supposed to be there, and your body does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it screams, "Hark! Invader!" And that's what triggers your immune system, and that's what triggers autoimmune. And wherever you're weak in your body's really interesting, because whatever that particle is that's in your blood that's causing your immune system to go into hyperaction, it starts to mimic wherever you're weak in your body. For me, I was weak in my muscles and my joints. For somebody else, they might be weak in their thyroid, and it might cause either Graves' disease or it might cause Hashimoto's. For somebody else, it might cause eczema and psoriasis or acne. Those are all autoimmune conditions. It might attack your lower intestine, and then you get something like IBS, or your joints, and you get arthritis. Wherever you're weak is where your immune system starts to attack you as it's trying to remove this invader, which actually was just food that was the wrong size particle. So healing your gut is the first thing that you need to do in order to get your body back on a track to be well. And I was lucky because I reacted quickly. And so mine didn't progress into one of the more complicated autoimmune diseases like lupus or MS or rheumatoid arthritis. I caught it early. But one of the things I've learned about the body is it really wants to heal. And it's like a computer, garbage in, garbage out. So if you heal your gut, your body wants to heal you. So we're going to talk through this series of shows about all the different ways that you can help your body heal. But one of the places to start is by eating clean, healthy food that your body can utilize to be the building blocks for a new, healthier you. Now that's quite a quick overview of how I ended up being in health. I was a jeweler. I just recently sold my jewelry business. It's been in Monrovia for the last 15 years, and I've been designing jewelry for 25. So how did I go from that to health, right? My background is I have a BA from Berkeley in English. That certainly wasn't related to health. So my credentials are that I went back to become a health coach after I got sick, because I started meeting a lot of people just like me who were sick, whose doctors did not recognize why they were sick. They're frustrated, and they were also being told that there was nothing wrong with them. So I decided that since I could actually write the manual I wish I'd had when I first got sick, which I did then do, I wrote a book called It Feels Good to Feel Good, Learn to Eliminate Toxins, Reduce Inflammation, and Feel Great Again. This book has won 14 awards, so I'm very proud of this book. And it is the manual that I wish I'd had when I got sick. And people tell me that reading my book is like having a conversation with me. So you would have my little voice in your ear if you decided you wanted to read this. I did so much research that all the kids in health coach school, now I went back to school when I was 67. Of course, all the kids in school with me were in their 20s. But one of them said to me that she loved talking to me because I was like a little encyclopedia of health. And I was like that out of self-defense. I did not want to live a life of pain and pills. So I read everything I could get my hands on, and I studied all aspects of my body because I wanted to return to wellness, and I believed that I could. So I'm now very passionate to bring you all this information that I have gained, both from all of my research, from my book, from going back to health coach school so that I could then bring the information to you from a point of view of more authority. And I am now 70 years old, and I feel better than I did when I was 50. So that's why you should pay attention to me. Everything I want to share with you, I have learned from personal experience, and I have regained my health as a result of it. Now, I'm 70 years old. So does that mean I'm going to run a marathon? Probably not. But I feel pretty darn good, and it's because I now know what to do to keep my body feeling good. So this is my very first show, and what I want to talk about today, actually, you're going to be surprised because you're not going to see the connection right away to health. What I want to talk about today is gratitude. I am very grateful to have this opportunity to share with you. I am very grateful that I am pain-free. I am very grateful to be eating good, organic, clean food and to bring you all the information I have gained about where to get clean food and to be able to do it on a budget. I am very grateful to have this opportunity to share all this information with you. But beyond that, practicing gratitude is one of the best things that you can do for yourself on a variety of levels. It sets your mindset to start your day. I get up in the morning and I write down 5 things right away that I'm grateful for from the day before, so that I no longer dwell on all the crud that goes on in my life. I dwell on the great things that have happened in my life, like the ability to come on KGen and share all this with you. So it sets your mindset to start your day. It sets your body so that, believe it or not, there are all kinds of physical benefits to gratitude, which we're going to go into. As an employer, it sets the right tone for all your employees and will make them more productive and your business more successful. So it's great for the health of your body, your community, and your business. So I thought it was the most important place to start, since I'm so grateful to have this opportunity. So let's get into gratitude. Number 1, I think that it goes without saying that we all want to be happy. And so there have been lots of studies about how to create that for ourselves. And one of the big things is to practice gratitude. It's lovely for me in the morning to start my day off thinking about everything that happened that was good for me the day before and to be thankful for it. So gratitude is celebrating all that's good in one's life so that you can actually foster your own happiness. Grateful living is asking us to take notice, to live in the present, to forget the past, and to plan for an abundant future. And by practicing gratitude, all that happens. It's from the tiniest things of beauty to the grandest things of our blessings. It's to take nothing for granted that's good in your life. And I honestly believe the universe wants me to get out and share all this information. And I forgot to tell you, I've done 80 podcasts as a guest in the last 2 years because I really want all this information to get out. And hopefully there's somebody else out there that really needs this information, and I will help them by sharing it because they'll relate to my background and what I went through and know that there's hope for them for their own future. So, what is gratitude? It means that life is good and rewarding and that there's goodness that comes from outside themselves. We affirm that there are good things in the world and the gifts and the benefits that we've received, and we're thankful for them. Gratitude becomes supported by daily practices and tools and habits of mind and behaviors, and it is a learned behavior. So if you find it hard in the beginning to list 5 things to be very grateful for, keep doing it, because the more you do it, the more it comes naturally to you that you can sit back and be grateful for at least 5 things that are present in your life at that moment in time. And then they can also be translated and applied to many lives. So it nourishes the community and it nourishes your relationships. Small, grateful acts every day uplift us, and they make a difference for others, and they help us change the world, which is one of the things now at 70. I have found my passion and my mission by wanting to share what I went through so that I can help other people not get as sick as I did. So we acknowledge that other people, or even higher powers, if you're of a spiritual mindset, give us many gifts every day, big and small, and help us to achieve goodness in all phases of our life. So it is a relationship strengthening emotion, and there is actually a very famous man who has written a book about gratitude. His last name is Emmons, and it's because it requires us to see how we are supported and reaffirmed by other people in our world. So being grateful starts with acknowledgement that life is good, and it can be as easy as waking up in the morning and just repeating the mantra, "It feels great to be alive." So if you're having a hard time coming up with 5 things to be grateful, start with that. It feels great to be alive, because we're not going to be here forever, and we need to enjoy every moment that we are here to the fullest extent. This beautiful emotion that life is abundant makes us feel grateful towards loved ones, colleagues, animals, and of course towards Mother Nature. That's all part of gratitude. And there's utility in gratitude, such as making amends or solving issues at hand. It often gets reciprocated, and that's not needed when you're feeling gratitude. It's just something that you get back what you put out. So there is an element of receptivity. I'm going to screw that word up. Bear with me, I mispronounce a lot of words. But it does come back to you, and that's important. And there's a karmic quality to gratitude, that by putting out how grateful you are, there's the law of attraction. You also pull in other great things that you can be grateful for. So the receiver is compelled to pay the goodness forward, generating positivity all the way around. So gratitude is a really good thing. Gratitude promotes gratitude. So if you start to practice this, you'll start to see all kinds of positive things happening in your life. The greatest gift of all is the present moment, and all spiritual practices lead to living gratefully in the now. And one of the things about practicing gratitude is it keeps you in the now, which is a wonderful thing. The other thing is that it multiplies our joy many times when we stop and say, look and go. Look at what I'm happy about. Look at what I'm grateful for. And that brings its own sense of additional happiness and multiplies. So what are the characteristics of grateful people? They feel a sense of abundance in their life. They appreciate the contributions of others to their well-being. They recognize and enjoy life's little pleasures. They acknowledge the importance of experiencing and expressing gratitude. They're more resilient, and they bounce back faster from tough emotions. Life is a series of ups and downs. That's never going to change. But if you have a healthy gratitude practice, you bounce back faster, and that's worth its weight in gold. It encourages you to take nothing for granted, and it encourages you to stop and listen and feel all of the great things that are going on in your life at that moment in time. One of the things I learned when I got sick was my body had been trying to tell me for a very long time that I was getting sick. And it flitted past me so quick that I didn't stop to comprehend what my body was telling me. Well, being grateful is the same thing. We get so busy with our lives, and we're so busy doing. By getting quiet and looking within and finding what's good in our lives, we can acknowledge it and we can feel it to its fullest extent. Whereas if it's just flitting by, we're not paying attention to it and we're not enjoying just how great it is. Gratitude blocks negative emotions, envy, regret, resentment, and depression. And new studies show that it actually reduces depression significantly and reduces how long depression can take hold in your body. This is a little off course, but I'm also going to tell you that the new thinking is depression starts in the gut. They used to think that the feel-good hormone, serotonin, was created in the brain. And there is some serotonin created in the brain, but the majority of our serotonin comes from, yes, the gut. So having a healthy gut and having a healthy gut that is not leaking is really important to feeling good and stable and not getting depressed as well. And I know that if I start to get down, I now know to sit quietly and think about what have I been eating. Because if I change my diet right away to eating more vegetables of all the colors of the rainbow, because by doing that there's a synergy that happens between all the different colors in your body, I can turn around negative feelings and depression in my body really quickly. So if you suffer from depression, this is a really good tip for what you can do to get past it. So if you stop taking things and people for granted, by taking time to reflect on their contributions to your life, it also strengthens your social connections. And if you let them know how grateful you are, you make friends more easily, and people are really happy to be around you because they know that you appreciate the fact that you're there And so that becomes a very important aspect of your friendship and your relationship. Gratitude also improves your relationship with your spouse. And so this is important, and also with your children. So one of my recommendations is, and it's something I was fortunate enough to do when I was a child, eat dinner as a family. And as you sit around the table at night, not only are you eating, hopefully, home-cooked food, which means you've eliminated all the chemicals that could be in the processed and the fast food that you were eating before, but you also can set gratitude at the table and share the things with each other that made you the happiest and that you're the most grateful for during the day. My family actually would sit around and we would all tell funny stories about ourselves at dinner. And those are some of my very best memories, are my family stories that got told sometimes over and over again at night at the dinner table. But we also said a little prayer, which was being grateful for the food in front of us and for the bounty that we were about to eat. And whether you tell a prayer or you're just feeling grateful, it's exactly the same approach, to be not to take anything for granted and to be happy that you have that abundance to put into your mouth. And that also will bind you closer to your spouse and your children. And by sharing with them how grateful you are for the little things that they bring to your life that make you happy, who wouldn't want to be there? So giving thanks has a lasting effect on your mood, and it sets the mood for the entire day. So this is why this is so important. I have learned that there is a gift in everything, and I want you to think about that. I was recently with a large group of women, and we were all sitting in a circle, and everyone was going around the room and saying something that they were particularly grateful for. And when it came my turn, I said I was grateful that I had gotten an autoimmune disease. And women in that whole room gasped. How could I be grateful for autoimmune disease? Well, it changed everything in my life. I was in a toxic relationship when I got sick. So he went out the door, and I was fortunate that I met a wonderful man who wanted to go on a get well journey with me, and I married him 4 years ago, and he is my ideal partner. So I'm very grateful that autoimmune disease brought me John. I'm very grateful that autoimmune disease, I had been feeling lousy for a very long time. I just wasn't paying attention to it. So autoimmune disease made me start paying attention to my health, and it brought me back to a pain-free place where I feel good and I'm happy that I feel good. I had terrible brain fog every morning, and so I'm grateful that I have much better mental acuity now. Everything about it has brought me to a better place in my life. So even the really bad things that happen in your life, somewhere along the line, they're going to be something that brings you a lesson or gives you a gift that you can be grateful for. So the key is to look for where is that sweet spot in everything that's going on in your life. Because if you can find that, that will set the tone for where you're going for the rest of your life. So it's really important. The key is to find one positive thing in seemingly bad situations and not to miss all the good things that are going on around you. So you can usually find one good thing. That's all I want you to do in the beginning until you can practice it more fully. Take any bad situation and think about what the gift is that that's bringing you, because there is always a gift. And then I want you to also take time to appreciate nature and all the little things that you take for granted that are outside. One of the best things you can do for yourself is to get outdoors and just soak in nature. Now, we're lucky we live in Southern California. Los Angeles is gorgeous. So whether you're just taking a walk in your neighborhood, you're probably seeing flowers and all kinds of wondrous things that you can stop and soak in and be grateful for. We also have the gorgeous Arcadia Park. I spent a lot of time there as a kid. I love the fountain that's there. So we have that. There's a couple of lovely parks here in Monrovia. Get outside and breathe the fresh air. even when it's a little hazy like it is today, and be grateful that we live in an area as darn gorgeous as Southern California and all the things that that brings that are joyous to our lives. A couple other ways that you can practice gratitude. So I told you already that I make a list every morning of the 5 things that I'm most grateful for at that moment in time. One of them this morning was that my husband ran around yesterday to find me a lovely poem to set my stage for my TV show. I'm very grateful that he did that. I'm very grateful to KJM that it will host me so that I can bring this information to you, and I hope that you're going to join me each week because I'm going to talk about all different things, and all of them should be things that will bring benefit to your life. I'm grateful that when I married John, we had 2 homes within 2 miles, and so we sold his home and bought a second home in Sedona, and that is truly heaven on earth, and I am very grateful that I not only have that home in Sedona, but I have my home here in Arcadia, and I don't think I shared with you, I grew up here, so this is my place on this earth that I feel grounded to the earth and grounded to my community. And that's why I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and that's why I have my business, my health coaching business here in Monrovia. I love this area and I'm grateful that I'm here in this area. If you don't practice it first thing when you get up in the morning, let's say you're a mom and you've got kids and you got to get them together and you got to get them breakfast and get them out the door for school, then start to practice gratitude at night before you go to sleep. There are some advantages to doing it then. It will calm your busy mind and help you sleep better. And you can keep a journal and keep it right by your bed so that you write down all these thoughts. It'll calm your busy mind. It'll give you a feel-good moment before you go to sleep, and when you turn off the lights, you're probably going to fall asleep right away. I am going to do a whole show on sleep because there's a new study out of the University of California at Berkeley that considers sleep even more important than stress. So we're going to go through what that is and what you can do to make sure that you get 7 good hours of sleep. If you're not a list maker, get one of those big canning jobs like Ball. You can get them at any of the Ace hardware stores or probably at Target or Walmart. And every day, write down 5 things on little pieces of paper and throw them in the jar. And write across it something cute that says, "This is my gratitude jar." So that when something good happens in your day, you write it down and you throw it in your gratitude jar so that you have it there. Whenever you have a negative thought, I want you to replace it with a positive one. This is called drowning out, and drowning out will also bring you great happiness over a period of time. So you have a negative thought, slips into your brain, and you immediately replace it with a positive thought and let it flip back out. It'll improve your day dramatically. I want you to cook. Cooking is so important. Why is cooking important? Because you can control what you put in your mouth, and that becomes one of the most important things you can do for health. So cook and be grateful for the food that you get to cook with and for having your family with you around the table. Make a gratitude collage. Now, I went and bought a great big frame that's an antique frame that's been painted white and has a bulletin board in the middle of it. And I use it as my vision board. I have on there where I want to go and what I want to do and what I still want to do in this time that I'm here on the earth. So it's my vision board. But I also recommend that you do one as a gratitude board. The things that you are most grateful for, go find pictures, cut them out, put them on a pretty bulletin board and make that your gratitude board so that if you need an extra boost, you can take a look at your gratitude board and know that those things make you happy, and so take a moment to take them in and enjoy them. I want you to volunteer for something in your local community. It could be a charity. When I had my jewelry business for a long time, I was supporting Hillside, which is a foster care school in Pasadena, because if you do for others that are less fortunate for you, the huge win is for you. It's for the people that you're doing something for, but there's also a huge win for you. And I just sold my jewelry business, and I hate to tell you how much jewelry I had, but I ended up giving 20,000 units. It was silver and faux stones. I gave 20,000 units of jewelry to Dress for Success, which are women who need a new start in life, who are leaving abused relationships. And I cannot begin to tell you how thrilled that organization was that their women could get something special that they could wear when they went on their first job interviews. So whatever it is, do something that gives back to your community, because the big win in that is for you. It's a win-win-win. It's a win for you, it's a win for your community, and it's a win for the people who are at the other end of it. And it will make you feel good about yourself, which is the whole thing that I want you to do. It feels good to feel good, and when you start feeling that, you want more. I want you to sit down and write, and then self-deliver a feel-good letter to somebody. Anybody. It could be your neighbor who gave you a cup of sugar the last time you needed one. It could be the little girl next door that takes care of your pets when you travel. Whoever it is, there are people in your life that writing a thank you letter to, and that's an old art that we've moved away from. Write a thank you note and deliver it. It will make them feel like $1 million. So it'll be something that you'll be really happy that you did. Gratitude begins with you paying attention. So notice all the good things that you're taking for granted. It might even be just that you got a good night's sleep last night. Whatever it is, I want you to notice it. Did someone at work or on the street treat you with special courtesy? Did you hold the door for a woman who had a baby that was having a hard time getting it open? All kinds of, those special little moments of kindness that we can practice. All of that fits into feeling good and feeling great and gives us a moment of gratitude. Go outside and take a glimpse at the sky and take a look at the clouds. We are so lucky that we have the beautiful mountains and the beautiful clouds and everything around us. So go be grateful for that. Or go sit somewhere quiet and have a moment of peace. Now, one of the things I like to talk about when I talk to groups is I like to go breathe with a tree. I know that sounds crazy, but somebody introduced me to it, and it's the most amazing feeling because you're giving the tree your oxygen, your carbon dioxide, you're giving the tree your carbon dioxide, and the tree is giving you its oxygen. So it's a really good thing to go breathe with trees. And trees are pretty amazing. I probably will do a whole show just on trees because, believe it or not, they have a whole network under the ground where they communicate with each other. They're amazing living things. So I actually was asked to go hug a tree, breathe with it, and then ask it if it had a message for me. And so this was a very special tree in Sedona, and I went and I hugged the tree, and I asked it if it had a message for me. And one of the things I asked it was because I was having a problem with mold poisoning, and I asked it how I was going to get back on track with my health. And I just sat there quietly for a minute, and then all of a sudden I saw like an elephant's eye opened up, and it looked at me, and then it shut, and it said, "Don't be silly, you know what to do. You've already been through this." And so I sort of stood back for a second, and then two eyes looked at me and said, "Do all the things that you have learned that you're talking about, and you will return to health." Now, this sounds a little far-fetched. I know that. But go breathe with a tree. And if you want to see if it has a message for you, it might surprise you. And then be grateful that it gave you the message that it did. So, directing our attention this way also will block feelings of victimhood, which is important. No victims allowed in my life. We own our own lives, and we have the ability to set it on course for a better tomorrow. So by doing all this, you put whatever victimhood you have to the side, and you start to create what that better tomorrow is. Okay, so then let's talk about, if you're an employer, what would gratitude do for you? Number one, if you have gratitude, you're going to start recognizing the people who are on your team for their accomplishments. And you're going to let them know that you're recognizing them for their accomplishments. So, what do you think that's going to do? It's going to give the people who work for you an incentive to go above and beyond. I used to be a store manager for the Broadway. Now, those of you who are my age will remember what the Broadway was, but those of you who are much younger than me won't, because they disappeared, I think, in 1993. But one of the things that I learned when I had 400 employees in the store is that everybody wants to do a good job, but it takes two things in order for that to happen. They need to know what you think a good job is, and you need to recognize it when they give it to you. So by showing gratitude, you're going to foster them to give you their best each and every day. And isn't that a wonderful thing as an employer? Let your customers know that you're grateful for them, which will help your bottom line. Remember, it's all about the law of attraction. So what you put out is what you pull in. So gratitude will attract more business. Gratitude will cure you of perfectionism, and perfectionism makes you difficult to be around, so this is important. So you will start being kinder and gentler with yourself, and that will allow you to expand and grow. Gratitude will allow you to focus on what is working, and that allows your mind to expand upon all your successes, which will allow you to build more successes in the future. By showing gratitude to your business partners, it opens up the possibility for greater collaboration and more creativity to occur between all of you. All of these are very good things. Gratitude to your existing customers will bring increased referrals for new clients. Gratitude in business allows you to turn challenges into opportunities for growth. It improves productivity both for you and for your employees because it takes the edge off of all those little nagging thoughts and worries. Gratitude increases goal achievement for both you and your team, and it allows you to focus on what's truly important in your business. So the point of gratitude is to acknowledge the source of good and to show others appreciation. And it will come back to you twofold, threefold, tenfold. And it's to recognize the good in every aspect of your life. So gratitude actually inspires hope in tomorrow. And then finally, what are the benefits of practicing gratitude for your health? On a regular basis, people who practice gratitude have lower blood pressure. They're more likely to exercise. It reduces feelings of envy and promotes positive feelings. It boosts your self-esteem and it increases selflessness and reduces your stress. And before I leave you, we're going to do a quick stress exercise. People are more likely to befriend others and offer support if gratitude is expressed. It lowers the possibility of coronary artery disease. It gives you a higher level of alertness, enthusiasm, determination, attentiveness, and energy. It improves your sleep duration and quality. It lowers inflammation, which I am now convinced that inflammation is not just autoimmune disease. It's also heart disease. It's also cancer. Inflammation is at the core of all of our major illnesses. So by doing gratitude, if you're reducing your inflammation, that's a very good thing for your toxic load. It creates healthier heart rhythms. Again, by being grateful, you're more connected with yourself and your environment, which is reducing your stress and creating better happiness. So it's also good for your gut. Gratitude helps us to relax. Stress hormones like cortisol are 23% lower in a grateful person than they are in a ungrateful person. And let me tell you why that one was important to me. My cortisol was almost to Addison's disease when I got sick because I was so stressed all the time. I had used it all up. So getting my cortisol to go back up and to maintain it at a steady level that's healthy has been one of my challenges. So practicing gratitude was one of the things that helped me do that. This one's something you may not have heard of, but practicing gratitude actually slows aging because it allows you to lengthen your telomeres. Telomeres are on the end of your DNA, and so you need to keep them as long as possible because then you age more slowly. There's a new groundbreaking study that telomeres are critical to our long-term health and our longevity, and they lower our stress and they keep us healthy longer because they're an important part of the DNA. And if we're constantly being stressed, we're not practicing gratitude, and we're angry all the time, eventually we're going to shorten our telomeres to the point that they're just not there and they can't help us. Gratitude floods your brain with feel-good chemicals like serotonin. It lowers your depression, which we talked about. You have fewer aches and pains when you practice gratitude, and you take better care of yourself in general. It improves your job performance and gives you a great attitude, which will help you succeed. And it makes you a more effective manager, helps you network, increases your decision-making capabilities, increases your own personal productivity as well as that of your team, and helps you get mentors and proteges. As a result, gratitude helps you achieve your career goals. Sounds like a pretty good practice to me. It's linked to improved self-esteem. It's an effective strategy for reducing insecurity. It creates the possibility of better choices, like eating healthier and exercising. And so the people who practice gratitude are obviously more optimistic. And it makes your memories happier. I read an interesting thing about memories that, they go and they get stored in our brain, but they don't get stored exactly the way they occurred. They get framed by how they made us feel. And so if we're practicing gratitude, our memories are happier, so that when we go back to tap into our memories, they're happier memories that we're tapping into. Like my story about eating with my family around the dinner table. Those are very happy memories. So practice gratitude so that those are the memories that you have. And gratitude does not just make us happier, but it is happiness in itself. Okay, I want to tell you a quick story about a man who felt that he was more like Larry David than he was like Mr. Bill, and wanting you to come to his neighborhood. So he decided he was going to pick one thing and trace it down to everybody who had touched it so that he could be grateful for everything that went into whatever that thing was that he chose. And what he chose was coffee. And he actually took it down to thousands of levels. He started with his barista, where he bought his coffee in the morning, and talked to her about how grateful he was that she was there. She commented that a lot of people don't even look at her when they order their coffee, that she was so happy that he was grateful that he came to talk to her, and she was grateful for him in return. He then went to the New York Water Department and met all the people who were making the water that was going through the system that was going to make his coffee. And in New York, where the reservoir was, they had actually flooded a neighborhood to have enough room to have enough water for the city of New York. And he met a man whose grandfather's house was actually at the bottom of the reservoir. And so he wanted to share with that man how grateful he was that the reservoir was there. And he met all the people on the inside of the reservoir. And then he decided he needed to go where the beans were grown. So he caught a flight and he went to Colombia, and he went to meet the people who actually grew the beans. And he said the most amazing thing happened when he was there thanking them for growing his coffee beans. They started telling him all the things that they were grateful for. So it goes on and on and on, but by the end he had touched hundreds and thousands of lives by being grateful for this one thing, and how much joy it brought him, and that he's no more like Larry David, he's much more like Mr. Bill in his life, and it has brought his whole life a lot of future joy. So That's the end of my first show. What I want to do before I leave you is teach you a quick stress exercise. And every week when I come, I'm going to teach you another way to get your stress under control, because stress impacts your life in so many ways and impacts your health in so many ways. It's really important that you find ways to release stress. So this one's simple. It's called the Dr. Andrew Weil 4-7-8 breathing exercise, and it takes 3 minutes to do 4 rounds of it. So it's not going to take a lot of time out of your day, and nobody even needs to know that you're doing it. When I'm in LA traffic on the way to my functional doctor's office, I do this the whole way there, and I know it works because I have a lower pulse than any of her other patients. So she's always amazed at how calm I am. So it's simple. You're going to breathe in for 4, you're going to hold it for 7, and then you're going to whoosh it out of your mouth for 8 with your tongue up against your teeth, and you're going to do it 4 times. So breathe in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then whoosh it out for 8. And then do it again. If you do 4 rounds of that, what it actually does is it resets your parasympathetic nervous system, which is right at the back of your head, and that floods your whole body with relaxation and releases all of the tension in your body at that moment in time. You can do that as many times during the day as you need to. You can even do it once an hour to make sure that you stay in a very calm state, but it will help the quality of your life and your body dramatically. So I want it to be something that you also start to learn to practice. And I'll bring you a new stress exercise next time when I return, and we're going to talk about stress, because that's the next big thing that you can do for yourself to improve the quality of your life. So thank you for joining me today on KGEM. I hope that you learned a lot and that you enjoyed the subject of gratitude. I hope you will put the practice into place, because you won't believe how good it makes you feel when you practice gratitude. And then I look forward to seeing you next time when we start to talk about stress. So it feels good to feel good. Future-proof your life by taking all of these tips and incorporating them into your life. Thank you. Hello, could I see a show of hands if there's anybody out there like me who's tried to lose weight their whole life and not been successful? So you've tried all the different diets available. You've tried Weight Watcher. You've tried Jenny Craig. You've tried all the New York Times bestsellers. And the last time you did it, you started off great, just like all the other times. And you started losing weight, and then all of a sudden you fell off the horse. And before you know it, you're eating fast food and processed food again with all that sugar, and you don't even know why. And in the end, you've gained more weight than where you started out. So you now are beating yourself up that you just don't have the willpower to win. If that's you, I want to address the elephant in the room, because 9 years ago, I got autoimmune disease and started researching because I didn't want the pain that came with the autoimmune disease, and the added benefit was I lost the weight along the way. So let me tell you what happens. Big Food doesn't want you to win. They've rigged the system. They've put so many chemicals into fast food and processed food that they light up the brain like a pinball machine. It's the same part of the brain that goes off for cocaine and heroin, and you feel great when you eat that food, but it's not making you feel good, and you're starving your body for nutrition because it's loaded with empty calories. So you're getting fat eating that food, and it's not giving your body what you need. And it's turning off all your own feel-good hormones of serotonin and dopamine and even your insulin, which keeps your moods even. But worse than that, there's two little hormones here at the back of your neck called ghrelin and leptin, and they don't work, and they regulate your appetite because all those chemicals have subdued them, so you don't even know when you're full. So what did I learn to do instead? I'm eating the GLAD diet, loaded with all the phytonutrients that my body needs to be healthy and to thrive and to boost my immune system and to ditch the pain. And along the way of eating all this live food, I lost 60 pounds without dieting. You see, I was starving my body for nutrition when I was eating the standard American diet, and now that I'm giving my body all those beautiful phytonutrients, it's not holding on to it anymore, so it's just dropping it automatically. So don't eat the standard American diet. I don't want you to get a standard American disease, and I certainly don't want you to die the standard American death. Instead, start eating the GLAD diet, because by eating all those beautiful phytonutrients, you will be healthier and you will live long and thrive. Thank you.